So a friend of mine asked me to uh, give a video on what would be the things a woman should look for when she's dating or she's trying to uh, find a partner. And so I came up with seven things that she should look for. And if she would follow these things, or if any woman would follow these things when seeking a mate, the chances of having a more solid relationships will be much better. So the first thing I would say that a woman should um, look for, and I think this one goes for men as well, but the first thing women should look for would be what is that man's spiritual belief, because I'm not talking about a particular religion per se, I'm talking about his belief system. Because the truth and the fact is we are spiritual beings in a human body and not human having a spiritual experience. So she should look for someone that is spiritual and in touch with his spiritual belief, because what that does is having a spiritual governance means that he subjects himself to something, some higher power, some higher being. And it means that he can be controlled, because if a man thinks that he is the be all and end all and he is his own God, then it means that there is no end to what he can actually do to you as a partner and how he can treat you. So as long as he understands and you understand that he submits to something, and it's important because a lot of women I know have even married a man and they didn't know that he didn't believe in God, and they were actually Christian women. And so it's so important that a woman must understand that man's spiritual value system before even thinking of him being engaged with him. Don't allow yourself to fall in love or be in love with a man and not know these things, because what's going to happen, your heart and emotions are going to take over, and it's going to be almost too late for you to back away and make a decision. Instead, you'll go into that relationship hoping that you can change him, and then realize that he's not going to change because he is who he is, and he would hold to that. The second thing I think a woman must make sure is that the man she wants to spend her life with, or is seeking to spend her life with, or is interested in, that he has a purpose and a drive, not just someone who works for a great company, because if he just works for a great company, it's a job he has, it means that you would not know what his alignment is, and what can happen in situations like that is he can lose that job, and then who he really is and below the surface would show. And then you're talking about chaos in a relationship. So most relationships end actually because of a situation with money. But if you are a woman and you know what his purpose is, and he loses his job, and you're acting out the role of and the part of a woman should act, then it's easy for you to let this man know and to support him and say, hey, get on your purpose and let's make this thing work, and let's see what can happen out of this, because this is what you really love to do, So always make sure that you know what his purpose is, and he knows what his purpose is, and so that you all and that his purpose is aligned to what you would want to do as well, because your role as a woman is to nurture him and expand who he is, to help mold him into becoming what his purpose is. All right, so make sure that you know what his purpose is, and see how you feel about what his purpose is, to see if you're aligned to it. If you aren't in alignment to it, then don't get into something with him, even though he has a great job, because what happens is life is so fickle. You can be rich today, poor tomorrow, here today, gone tomorrow. And so before you subject yourself to being with that person, make sure you know what his purpose is. Now, the other thing is, I've learned this a long time ago, is be with someone that is physically also stimulating. Now, women don't go by physical alone. Men do. Men can actually fall in love in 2 days to 2 weeks because of a woman's physical alone, without knowing really anything about her. It's just how we are built. And women go basically mainly based on how that person makes them feel. But after that honeymoon phase is over, you need that person to also be physically stimulating to you as well. So if you like tall guys, then be with a tall guy. Even though you meet an amazing short guy, and if you can be with a tall guy, always seek to rather be with a guy who is taller. If you like short guys, be with a short guy, not a tall guy. Whatever it is, make sure that that person is close or is in alignment to what physically stimulates you, because should that relationship go bad and there are issues in that relationship, there need to be things that are going to keep you interested and motivated, and that physical and chemistry is one of them. And what it also do, it reduces your propensity or the probability of you cheating outside of your relationship, because what happens if that relationship is sour or there are issues and you meet that mister who is stimulating to you and who is really your type, it's much easier for him to penetrate that relationship and cause issues, which you really don't want unless you're out of the relationship. All right. So the fourth thing is, listen to what he says. What he says really matter, and don't do it from a female standpoint only, in that it's an emotional thing to you, so you're listening to every sentence and you're looking to cancel him based on everything that he says. But really try to be as logical as you can be and listen to what he's saying. And if for some reason you don't understand what he's saying, don't judge him because you don't understand or it's different from what you would say or you have heard all your life, because that means that you are set in a paradigm and that you are living in a box, and it's not really him is the problem, it's you are the problem, because you're not able to be expansive in your thoughts. Ask him what does he mean by what he's saying. Ask him to explain and get a broader sense of understanding for what he's actually saying, and you'll be surprised most times you would appreciate what he's saying more. All right. The fifth thing is, listen to what he's not saying. And this is equally as important, because if he's saying stuff but he's not saying things that are really important and significant to you, don't force him to say what he's not saying. But if he's not saying stuff that is important to you, or saying stuff that really matters in a scheme of a conversation, then it means that no matter what you do in the beginning, that's who he is going to be at the end, and it's going to cause a problem and depolarize the relationship as well. All right, so be careful. Make sure that you listen to what he's not saying, as important as listening to what he's actually saying. All right, so the sixth thing is, and most people may not agree or believe that this is so important, look at how he drives. And how he drives will tell you a whole lot about him. Look at his posture when he's driving. You can see if he's a confident person. If there are two hands on his steering at all times, you will know that he's not a confident person. He's more nervous. So he's not in control of that environment when he's driving. So it's likely that in most other cases, he is not going to be in control of the environment that he is in otherwise as well. And look how fast he drives. If he's driving extremely fast and reckless, it means that that's his nature as an individual. If he's driving at a faster speed than normal, but he's controlled and he don't make you feel uncomfortable, it means that this man is much more controlled and he's confident and has an ability to drive, and he's thinking and operating outside of the norm, and he will do that very same thing in life. All right. Now, the other things I mentioned before would also come into context with how he's driving, because those things would allow you to know, for example, if he's driving at a faster speed than is normal, and he's not saying the things that are right to you, he's not governed spiritually, then he will also do stuff that is going to cause a relationship to have issues. But if the other things I mentioned before are in alignment with you and what is right, then it means that he's doing stuff above the normal, and he's going to treat you above the normal as well. So the things I mentioned before would guide you in this scenario to indicate if he's going to be channeled towards you or the outside world and other people. All right. And the seventh point is, how he treats others. And this goes also to partially how he driving. So how he drives. So if for some reason, for example, he never stops for somebody to come out of a street, he never stops for someone to cross the road, he talks to other people very nicely, but you don't get the same vibe when it comes to you, or he treats other people bad and he treats you good, it means that there's a disconnect on either side of the sphere of how he is, and it's unnatural, it's unnerving, and then it's going to cause a problem in the future. It's a red flag. It's a serious red flag. Don't try to understand, don't try to talk to him about it to get him to change. If it doesn't come to him naturally, if you're realizing that he doesn't know, it's a whole different thing. If he doesn't know, but if you're realizing it's part of his personality naturally, then it's a huge red flag. All right, it's supposed to let you know very early on, I can't go down this road with this person. And sometimes it hurts because sometimes dopamine kicks in and oxytocin is already in play, and so you feel good about the person, you're building it, you have a great chemistry and stuff. But having chemistry simply means it's a chemical thing that's going on inside of you. It's just emotions and hormones that are operating. It's not what you actually need. So don't get confused by you just feeling good for someone, but you want to overlook these red flags, because when those hormones and that chemistry starts to fade, who he really is and the foundation is what real love is going to be built on. All right, so let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think about these comments. Like, share, and subscribe, and you hear from me soon. Bye for now.